So I think of, especially with Gen Z and now Gen Alpha, which is about to enter the workforce, they grew up in the school of YouTube. So we have a declining college graduation rate for a lot of individuals, or like college introduction. A lot of the things that we do in performance marketing, once it's published in a textbook, is already outdated. So when we have millennials and Gen Zers and soon to be Gen Alphas constantly finding and self-sourcing how to do something, what they end up doing is finding 1,000 different roads to Rome. But when they're doing these different roads, not all roads are necessarily leading to Rome. And my goal with this most valuable activity was to have all roads lead to impact. And I think we have struggled with in the past, especially with Gen Zers, of them being like, I can try anything. They have been never more motivated to watch a YouTube video, to read a resource. They just want to try. They'll try. It's like shiny object syndrome, but for learning. And they're very excited to jump into it and see what they can do, but they lose track of the long-term vision. So some of the things that older adults with a lot more experience, we have neglected because we're like, oh, younger generations understand technology more. We have neglected that experienced generations understand the unspoken truth. A lot of the things that YouTube videos skip or AI leaves out of the conversation. And what that ended up us doing is trying 1,000 things, implementing more AI than could have been necessary, sometimes contributing to the AI slop of items. But the reality is we were trying 1,000 different things and neglecting to measure the impact of our efforts. And when we created a singular focus, like the art of singularity, I was like, okay, it's very painful. So anyone that's listening, like, you have to know that it's, it's not easy to do, but once you do it, holy smokes, we like our very first member of our team, our pack member that we tried this on, we accomplished 3x in 30 days of impact that exceeded what she had done in the 90 days before.
So you did 3 times the amount of productivity.
3 times the
30
impact.
days. Okay. Impact. Not necessarily just done, like things that actually made a difference in the business. And in this particular case, maybe we can go into this one as a good example. Like, what was the impact? Was it greater client success was it more money? Was it like, what was that impact? It seems like it was obviously very measurable.
Yeah, it was super measurable. So this was an individual that was actually doing the Perpetual Traffic Spanish YouTube channel. So that's, I'm like, oh, I can be super transparent about this exact use case. So we launched the Perpetual Traffic YouTube channel in Spanish. We've been using HeyGen to create the videos. So, podemos hablar en español on the podcast and sound much stronger. Ralph, side note, your voice is very similar to a very popular Spanish meme. So the way you sound in Spanish is quite good.
We're going to leave links in the show notes. Do we have a quick link on this, like at perpetualtraffic.com? Or no, we don't really.
/Spanish. We'll make it at the end of this. Yeah. So when we started doing this just before Christmas, and from before Christmas through March 1st. So again, I'm sharing this as it's going and how it's growing. And like maybe on a later episode, I could be like, oh, the thing I learned today to make it even better. But we had grown that channel 17 subscribers. Our podcast was number 1 in Nicaragua. And I was like, oh, this is great. Let's do this stuff with Spanish. I went to Vid Summit and like I have friends with popular channels and they're making them in multi languages and having the ability to provide what we know is working to more people than just in English. I was like, oh, yeah, let's do it. Let's grow. Let's test. The channel grew 17 subscribers in 90 days.
Not exactly robust.
Now, she was doing all the checks, right? She was uploading, she was testing thumbnails, she was testing titles and doing all the things, checking off all the boxes, watching every YouTube video and just testing and like deploying more than may not have been necessary. So it was like with labor and the cost of technology. I was like, man, maybe this was a failed experiment, but it wasn't not for effort. And for her, it was defeating. She's like, I'm doing all the things. I'm following all the videos. I'm testing all these things. Why isn't it taking off the way that I would expect it to? So we created this most valuable activity with her and her manager, where all she had to do in the month of March or month of April was grow the Perpetual Traffic YouTube channel 1 subscriber a day. That was it. I was like, I don't care how you do it anymore. There's no to-do lists. You're checking off, oh, hey, you posted this on 2 Reddits. There's no, you're split testing 4 different thumbnails. It's like, I don't care how. You just have to grow it. Net new subscriber, 1 person per day.
Okay. Modest goal, but very specific, very measurable.
Very specific, very measurable. But you have to remember, like, she had other tasks. She had other responsibilities, but we had to distill the entirety of her job to this most valuable activity, which was about impact. So if you're listening, you have to be ready. Like, you have to distill it down so simply that like you're feeding a baby little bird. And what resulted was every single day that month, we acquired at least 1 net new subscriber. And it started like one day we had 10 net new subscribers. And I know like these are pitiful little numbers, but you have to remember that like nothing. We had 17 subscribers after like 90 days. And let's be real, more than half of those were people on my team. So it wasn't like strangers necessarily. Once we gave her the impact goal, then her focus on learning wasn't about what else to do. It was focused on impact. And that most valuable activity gave her momentum, gave her encouragement, because it was so discouraging. Like, I'm doing all the things and it's not working. Now we're saying, ignore what other people are telling you and do what you see is making the impact. And her job went from checking off to-dos to measuring impact, to going into analytics, and to focusing on how to drive the outcomes that she actually wants to achieve.
So I love this because it's very specific, very measurable, very action oriented, very results focused. It's like it's the outcome that you want, not necessarily the activity that you need to do to get the outcome. It's like, here it is. Now, in her defense, she could have, I don't know, maybe gone to Fiverr. She could have hit the cheat code on this. But I'm looking at our Spanish subscribers right now, and it is way more than 17. Now, it is not 17,000, but it is more than when it first started. And should we say what the number is? It's almost 100 now.
Okay, great. So that's from April. And then we did it from April to, I think, like May 15th. Then we switched and gave her a different MVA because that wasn't her primary focus. We were just giving her an internal account.
Right. You're also testing this out, it seems like, testing out something that was a small project. This isn't like a huge project, but it's a small sort of side project. It's not something specific for like one of your agency clients. There's low risk. I remember you asked me about it. Like, can I start a Spanish YouTube channel for Perpetual Traffic? I'm like, sure, go for it. So, I love these sorts of things with production hires initially, just to, like, we used to do this before we would hire people. We would do something like this and then we would pay them sort of after. But it's a great way to get people's feet wet and sort of understand like how they work, how you work with them, what motivates them, and doing small projects to start.